8 months ago, I made a video talking about a situation popping up around the voice actor for Kinger, Sean Chiplock. At the time, it pretty much amounted to Sean making a few poor taste jokes that didn't really amount to anything particularly serious. More recently, however, there were far more serious accusations that came to light, which I'll be going over in this video. I'll share everything that's happened so far, and then give my thoughts at the end. The initial allegations come from a user talking on behalf of the alleged victim, Casper. The tweet reads, "When I was 13, Sean Chiplock attempted to groom a 15-year-old trans boy. That person was my friend, but he left the internet, so the only person left to tell the story is me." Casper was a 15-year-old on Fur Affinity when he and Sean got into contact. They talked in FA notes about having trouble regarding an artist they commissioned. Then their conversations moved to Skype. Attached underneath is a screenshot with the first alleged message Casper had received from Sean on Skype. It seems to be some sort of joke from a prior conversation that happened elsewhere, but it made Casper uncomfortable and seemed to only escalate as time went on. The next tweet reads, "Not even an hour later, Sean sent voice clips of himself moaning to a minor." Casper was 15. Even if Casper took this as a joke, this is still not appropriate to send to a child. Underneath here, they show some images showing more detail where it shows Sean talking about some Skype RP and then sending 2 voice clips in the conversation. It's important to note that neither party seems to have these voice clips saved, so you basically are having to take their word on most of this. Along with that, it seems neither Casper or Sean are able to log in and see these logs to either prove or disprove what's being said here. Rena continues on saying that within an hour of Sean and Casper talking here, Sean then moved the conversation and started asking completely inappropriate sexual questions about their fantasies. Below they attach a screenshot showing this, which I'll throw up on screen as well. For some reason, part of it is cut off on the left where it would usually show Sean's username Sonic Mega, which is something to keep in mind. To expand on this point further, underneath Rena shows 2 different Reddit posts of Sean seemingly confirming that these messages are real, but that it was sent to someone else entirely. She says, "This journal and this story have been buried to time for multiple reasons, but the main reason it was buried to time was that Sean himself lied about it. He pretended the DMs were with a different of age person entirely, and not a 15-year-old boy." If you want to take a look into further detail onto either of these, I'll have a link to the more detailed breakdown and archived Reddit down below. Moving on to Sean's initial response to all this was pretty heated, but it's understandable given the gravity of the accusation and the amount of times he'd already responded to it. He posted, "I refuse to continue to entertain an oft-repeated, long-outdated, always on behalf of another accusation, stemming from a community where a literal groomer continues to manipulate and harass their victims. I'm not even upset, just frustrated at what you've been told to believe. Every year I am made to have to address this time and time again, with clients, communities, colleagues. Every year I'm forced to revisit this, and the person who began it all laying out every detail, because my literal career is on the line. Every year it is debunked. There have been so many opportunities for those who work with me to have researched, investigated, and come to their own conclusions about what is said of me. I'm extremely grateful that those conclusions have all been the same. That is not how I act, that is not how I behave. Unfortunately, my choice to be involved with someone who proved to be incredibly toxic and vindictive resulted in repercussions I'm now dealing with over a decade later, and I hope I can use that lesson to caution others about who or what they associate themselves with online. This thread won't matter. After enough time has passed, the topic will surface again, a new audience will be found, and I will once again have new angry faces to look at. All I can do in response is my best, and to show that in word and action. I am better than that, but as long as I'm going to be forced to go through all of this again, I at least want to thank everyone who has taken the time, the effort, and the patience to do due diligence, and to continue to work with me after they've had a chance to make a firm decision for themselves." Shortly after Sean posted this response, the alleged Casper that was in the initial screenshots quoted his post saying, "I'm the Casper in these logs. I'm choosing to come forward to add credibility to these allegations, and to say that I stand by the claims made in my original journal written in 2014. Sean Chiplock is a creep." Casper then goes on to confirm some of the details surrounding their age and reaffirm what Rena had previously stated and showed with the messages. Underneath, they also say that they don't have access to the accounts from 11 years ago. They wanted to put a name to this story and substantiate the claims that were made on their behalf. About 6 hours after Casper's response, Sean comes back and seems to switch up pretty dramatically from his previous attitude towards these allegations. He says, "Casper, if you'll permit me to speak with you, I would be grateful to have the conversation. You should have been allowed a long time ago about what you experienced. More than anything, I want you to be able to properly express your frustrations and to apologize for my own behavior." Casper replies to this saying, "I don't want to have a private conversation with you. Waking up to this whole ordeal has already been triggering and made me exceedingly uncomfortable. All I want from you is to stop deflecting the blame to PK, admit that the screenshots are real, and apologize." Sean then goes on to say, "Without access to the original log/conversation, I've no way of being able to verify what's being shared isn't edited or modified. I'm not comfortable arguing the truth of something I can't even look at for myself from a community that proved to be full of manipulation. This doesn't change the fact that if I made you uncomfortable in any way, I'm genuinely sorry. It was wrong of me to assume anything of you without asking first, and I would never want to take advantage of anyone. I apologize for ever making you or anyone feel otherwise." Casper pretty much ends their side of the dialogue, quoting Sean with, "I've muted this thread and will not reply to further attempts to discredit me or bring up past trauma. Sean has stopped denying correspondence with me and expressed a desire to apologize, which speaks for itself as far as I'm concerned. After this, Sean then clarifies what he meant by his response, saying, "A preliminary apology to being told you made me uncomfortable is not an admission of guilt. I continue to vehemently reject any accusation/claim that I would groom, abuse, or otherwise take advantage of any individual, under any circumstances. Empathy does not equal culpability." And with that tweet, that pretty much ends the dialogue from both sides. Obviously, Sean kind of explained a little bit more in some of the replies, but generally that sums up everything. After looking through all of this, I'm honestly not sure what to think. While the evidence itself isn't particularly solid, it's Sean's later responses to what's said here that really makes you question what might have actually happened. It is important to take all this with a grain of salt and remember that a lot of companies have been working with him for years while all of this was floating around. That could mean he's completely innocent, or there's not enough evidence to really dismiss him. I'm honestly wondering how much is or isn't true about this whole situation. At the time of all this, Sean was 25 years old, and if he was running around sending people NSFW audio on Skype, I feel like that would be something that would stick with you and you'd be able to remember vividly. But obviously, I'm not Sean, and everyone's memory works a little differently. It's all very he said, she said, and it's unfortunate that neither of them have access to the accounts they're referring to here, as that would clear pretty much all of this up instantly. Anyway, that's all I wanted to cover in this video. Let me know your thoughts on the whole situation down below in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.